if that Fruit in a Cup movie was ever made or whatever, they'd find a way to call that Daffodils. Yeah.
Welcome to SinCast, presented by Cinemasins.
This episode of SinCast is brought to you by Mubi, a curated online cinema streaming exceptional films from around the globe. Each day, Mubi introduces a new gem and you have 1 month to watch it. From cult classics to acclaimed masterpieces, every film is hand-selected by experts. Try Mubi free for 30 days at mubi.com/cinemasins. That's mubi.com/cinemasins for your extended free trial. All right, everybody, welcome to the SinCast. This is Chris Atkinson from Cinemasins, joined as always by the voice of Cinemasins, Jeremy Scott.
I salute you.
Yeah, for those about to rock, Jeremy salutes you.
Well, I had to do something. I know what Barrett's about to try here.
Yeah, oh, yeah? And from music video since Barrett Share.
Griswold.
Ooh.
I don't think you got it right.
Is that movie coming out next week? The Crimes of Griswold?
We were told by a commenter on SoundCloud that we should use the greeting Griswold. I don't know, which is Swiss German.
What? Swiss German?
For all you Swiss Germans out there, Griswold.
Well, the rest of the comment also says it's really hard to pronounce, so good luck Googling, which I'm guessing you didn't do.
No.
So it's probably not Griswold.
Wasn't there was a thing a couple of years ago where there was, it's so funny the Germans can't pronounce squirrel or something like that? Was that, did you ever see that?
I didn't see that.
And you see a bunch of Germans trying to pronounce squirrel and it's impossible for them or whatever. And then like there was a counterpoint to that, like the German word for squirrel. And like it was some fucking insane labyrinth of a word. And like, people were like, Zandabulabiga. And nobody knew how the fuck to say it. It's like, yeah, you made your point.
Yeah. That's
Things are hard.
Oh, man.
We're going to go back on a road trip today.
Road trip.
On the road again. The most time-honored tradition of all, the road trip. Oh, the places you'll go.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are we there yet?
No.
But briefly,
Yeah, it's going to be brief.
it's North Dakota. And there's let's see if we can make this 5-minute segment somehow be an hour. We'll find a way. We'll find a way.
Have either of you guys been to North Dakota?
No.
No. It seems like a beautiful area, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I forget if the Badlands are in like
It's Calgary's
South Dakota
pants.
or whatever.
Yeah. It is. It is.
I guess so. But no, I mean, just like Montana, like big sky country. And
Yeah,
all
no,
that
I'm
stuff.
sure it's beautiful for the 4 people that live there.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
And for the 4 movies that have been said there.
Yeah, so we'll get to the TV show in a minute, but okay, so there's Jesus Camp.
Yeah,
I never saw Jesus Camp.
yeah?
Is this a documentary?
it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You've seen it?
Yes.
What'd you think?
I saw it at a time in my life where my belief system was a little different.
Mm-hmm.
So it was more of a hate watch for me at the time because I was kind of bitter that the movie existed. Like I didn't want that movie to discredit or say anything negative about Christians because I was among all the Christians. I haven't seen it since, so it's really hard for me to say. But I remember kind of twinging a few times, feeling like there were a little bit of manipulated moments here and there.
I think they do a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Of
Again, it's
just
been a while.
presenting it for what it is. I mean, this is literally a Jesus camp where they're influencing hearts and minds of today's youth, or the youth of, what was that, 2005, by, fundamentalist Christianity. That means anti all kinds of things, and pro Jesus.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it
and
looks
see-
like it looks like a dangerous place to somebody outside of that.
Well, and probably a dangerous place to people inside of that. It's just that I think what troubled me about it at the time was that I grew up going to church camps, which were nothing like this because I didn't grow up in a fundamentalist hardline religion. It was more of I hesitate to use this phrase, but more of a vanilla Protestantism that I grew up with. We didn't have ribbons and dancing and speaking in tongues. We didn't have any fringe, hardline. Girls were allowed to wear pants, things like this. So Jesus Camp presented at the time in my life to the world, hey, this is what church camps are like. And that wasn't the case at all. It was only this one subset of church camps. But yeah, I mean, it's horrifying. Like,
it's literally terrifying to watch this.
Yeah.
And the effect that it's having on kids, actual kids, that's what makes it so terrifying, is that, I can't watch like horror films with kids in it, besides like Children of the Corn or something like that, just because being a parent, like I identify too much with that situation that freaks me out. But having a documentary like this where you've got, an influence on an entire generation of upcoming kids is something that just turns my stomach.
Yeah, but I think even most mainstream Christians would look at this movie and the activities presented in it and denounce it and say, this is not what we believe, this is not right, because it is kind of borderline emotional abuse. If not, maybe we should just take the borderline out of it. I don't know.
No, it absolutely is. It's been a while since I've seen it too, but it would probably really affect me now. So I don't know. It's worth a watch, I think.
Yeah, no, I remember. Yes. I'm not going to say anything else.
But you're not going to feel good about yourself afterwards.
No. And you may not send your kids to church camp next year.
That's true.
I'm gonna go off list here because there was one major one.
Yeah, I don't know how I missed that.
It major, quote unquote.
Right.
Leprechaun was North Dakota. Movie is fucking terrible.
Now, is it Leprechaun 2 that Jennifer Aniston's in?
No, it's the first one.
Okay, then I've seen this.
Yeah, Jennifer Aniston is like 23 in Leprechaun.
It's not very long before her fame, actually.
Yeah, like it's her first movie that she's ever done. And I think she was in some TV series.
She was on like a Ferris Bueller TV show.
Yeah, she was on the Ferris Bueller show.
Was canceled pretty quickly.
Didn't she play Ferris' sister?
Yeah.
Did she have a different nose back in those days?
I think she did because when you look back at Leprechaun, there's something very different about her.
Yeah.
And it's one of those, I can't quite put my finger on it.
Well, it was a plot point in Friends that she had a nose job back. Was it? Isn't that
I
true?
think so. That sounds right.
But I think she had a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, it's weird if you ever watch Leprechaun, like watching someone with that kind of star power running around in a movie that is bargain basement cheap.
Yeah,
like it looks like they made it for sci-fi back in 1993.
Yeah.
And like but watching her in there, it's like but at the same time she still looks different enough where you're like, yeah, I can see her as a B-movie actress or whatever that just kind of randomly found on the scrap heap,
Yeah, no, I remember this being like was it a hit? But a lot of people were talking about it.
It was made for $1 million and it made $8 million.
Oh, okay. So that's why you got
that's
all the
why
sequels.
horror movies are so prominent, is that you can make them so cheaply, and if you make that kind of bank on it, then I mean, Leprechaun made 6 sequels.
Yeah. God, that's insane.
No, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Just as it doesn't make sense that there's a leprechaun running around in North Dakota. I will say though, the reason he gets there is because the guy who's in the house, there's this weird yada yada backstory about how he like steals Leprechaun's gold and then stuffs him in a suitcase somehow, and somehow flies back with the Leprechaun to North Dakota. Like that's some seriously derelict in their duty airline workers to not see a fucking leprechaun.
That's Warwick Davis too, right?
Yeah, it's Warwick Davis. Yeah. That's the thing. They said something about like they were going to make it a straight horror movie at one point. And then Warwick Davis went with the comedy or whatever. And so I was like, okay, good for him. He saw that he was in a piece of shit and he's just going to, but there's nothing in that movie that says, oh, he really turned this up a notch.
Yeah.
He just says a lot of stupid fucking Chucky shit the entire time.
Speaking of Chucky.
Yeah.
Bringing that shit back next summer now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
it's 2 different things, right? Like I think there's a new movie and then like a new TV show or something like that.
Just summer 2019, Aubrey Plaza, Child's Play. That's a headline I saw.
No thanks.
Everything
Did you
old
say
is new
Aubrey
again.
Plaza? I'm
I
watching.
did. I
I'm
know.
watching.
I know. That's how they get you.
Yeah, that's how they get you. I mean, I can still watch and say that the movie's terrible. I just want to watch it because,
Right, like they could reboot Breaking Bad, but if Mila Kunis played the wife, you'd watch that
yeah,
shit.
you're right.
You know they are making a sequel to that. Breaking Bad?
They're making a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of my rant later.
Okay. Gotcha.
I have some thoughts.
All right.
Anyway, who knows how Leprechaun had 7 movies, and I think a remake of some sort. How in the world that happened? But it happened in North Dakota, guys.
It sure did.
That's your claim to fame.
There it is.
And then there's Logan.
Yeah.
Oh.
I guess part of it is when they're trying to cross into Canada and everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's the destination where, and I still haven't really worked it out in my brain on how this worked out, because it should have been a fictional place, right? Because they were basing the location on a comic book.
Yeah.
So is the movie saying that all of the kids took that literally and then they actually did create this utopic society up there?
Yes.
I think so.
Okay.
That was my interpretation, was that the comic inspired them to do the thing the comic had said.
I got you. Okay. It seemed like they had
Yeah,
been there
it
for a
wasn't-
long time.
Yeah,
I
for
agree with
sure. When whoever drew like that wasn't real, but
Okay.
then they made it real.
I see.
It's
Yeah.
just like the Bible.
It's just like the
Bible. It's exactly like it.
I'm sorry, everybody. I should not have been the one to make that.
Jesus camp, anyway. No, it's
This
Logan.
movie is like surprisingly rewatchable. Like I've seen it at different points where I'll just come in and I'll want to watch it to the end.
Yeah.
It's such a different superhero movie. It's they made it a little bit more realistic, quote unquote, where the situations they're in seem a little bit realer,
Yeah.
or whatever. Turning it into essentially a Western.
Mm-hmm.
It's so different. Nothing is, all the superhero movies that you see, everything is just so very hyper realized and everything. And this one, it's like, oh, there's like basic people in here. They're having normal conversations in this. And that's why I think it's way more watchable than you'd expect before you've ever seen it.
Yeah, and it doesn't pull any punches. I think, there's that whole debate about the R rating and all that stuff being, an excuse to have the lady flash in the back or that kind of thing. But also, I think it did take the lid off to where they could get super violent. When you get super violent in this context, it makes it super real instead of, like a superhero movie where, there's no blood or anything like that. Like, you feel it when they have that huge fight between X-14 or whatever it is and Logan. And the one at night outside the farm, that shit is for real, man.
And he stabs him right in the armpit.
I know.
I feel it every time.
Yeah.
Every time I wince.
Yeah.
I think what makes this movie so rewatchable is the supporting performances on both ends of the age spectrum with Patrick Stewart and then the little girl. Because I think if you have lesser actors in these roles, you lose something in this film. But they work as perfect opposite kind of foils for Logan's character where he is in his life right now. I love it. I saw it maybe 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. The first time I saw it, Patrick Stewart's character annoyed me.
Oh, yeah?
Because it seemed to me like he was using the R rating as an excuse for him to just say fuck a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And he's raving all the time, and you can't tell when he's lucid or not. And then when I would watch it again, I'm like, that's a fully realized character because he is stark raving mad.
Yeah.
For a large majority of the time. And I think even though it is way over the top compared to what he's like normally, I think it's a perfect thing. So yeah, this movie's awesome.
Yeah. No, I dig it. I dig it the most.
And rounding out the movies, the Messengers.
Yeah, baby.
I saw this back in the day. It's a very bad generic horror film.
This movie sucks.
Yeah, Kristen Stewart is in it. This is like 2007, I think, somewhere around there. But it's your typical family moves into a new house and shit starts happening.
Oh, I have seen this.
And
Why did they call that movie The Messenger?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember why they called it The Messengers either. I haven't seen it since it came out.
Is it John Corbett?
It's Dylan McDermott.
Dylan McDermott's the dad.
Yeah.
But the guy, the farmhand.
Let me make sure.
The guy from Northern Exposure?
I think it is, actually.
That sounds about right.
Dylan McDermott Mulroney.
Dermot Mulroney. And then there's Penelope. Yeah, John Corbett.
John Corbett. Boy, I really wished he had a bigger career. I mean, he was in Big Fat Greek Wedding, right?
Yeah.
He was on Sex and the City, but...
Now, that might be an interesting topic someday, is actors like John Corbett, because I think he's had exactly the career that he probably deserves.
Oh, really?
I like him.
Yeah.
But like he's the guy who, I think that's probably what he is in real life. Whatever we see,
kind of
he's
like
just that nice guy that comes in,
yeah,
and he's always the nice guy that the main girl likes, but doesn't like as much as the asshole guy at the end of town.
Yeah. I Northern Exposure, I think, is one of those shows that has been kind of lost to time, and I really loved it, and I really love all the people that were in it.
Yeah.
Who was the main girl in it? Was it Maura Tierney?
No, it was I used to know this name. She's beautiful.
Yeah, she is.
Janine Turner.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a fun show.
But yeah, The Messengers isn't very good. I don't know why that's in North Dakota either.
Yeah.
Well, it's a farmhouse.
Yeah. Because you have to
They
go
got
to North
farms
Dakota.
in other states.
That's what I'm saying, is like you have to go to North Dakota.
How big do you think the North Dakota Film Commission is? Is it like, so that's like a part-time gig for some one guy,
Yeah,
right?
exactly,
It's
man.
like the mayor of a town also runs the North Dakota Film Commission.
I mean, this is probably the least that I've seen in any of the states so far.
Yeah, and you sent a Wikipedia page, and I looked it over, and I was like, yep. Yeah. So other than that, we do have the Fargo TV show is also shot there.
Are the second and third season, are they set more in North Dakota or in Minnesota? Because it's Bemidji and Fargo in the first season.
I don't know. I've seen that third season. I don't know. I think they sort of go back and forth. I'm not sure.
The second season, it has to be the same town because Patrick Wilson is playing the old sheriff from the first season.
Oh, okay.
He's playing a younger, because the little girl is the pregnant girl from the first season. The sheriff.
Oh,
lady.
okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
I haven't seen the second season.
In the first season, the pregnant cop, her dad owns like a diner.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Wilson is playing him.
Oh, I got
In
you.
the second season, they've gone back in time to tell another story. So it's at least the same general area.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think the part of the point of that, the movie and the TV show, is to show you that there's not much of a difference, especially in winter.
Right.
Because the movie Fargo happens all in Minnesota, I think.
I think so.
For the most part,
yeah.
there's the only thing that happens in Fargo is the climax and like all the
Right. Yeah.
I think the build up to it and everything, but everything else is in Minnesota.
But the first season of the TV show, I think that's where Billy Bob goes up and just massacres everybody. He's up in Fargo.
Oh,
when he
okay.
goes into
Yeah.
that building and he just fucks everybody up. And of course, nobody calls the cops or anything like that when they start shooting.
Yeah, this is so in season 3, the synopsis on Wikipedia says in 2010, St. Cloud, probation of St. Cloud's, Minnesota. Ray Stussy and his parolee girlfriend, Nikki Swango, dream of a better, wealthier life. To achieve this, they attempt to steal a valuable vintage stamp from Ray's more successful older brother, Emmett, also played by McGregor, the self-proclaimed parking lot king of Minnesota. So I think a lot of it does take place in Minnesota.
It is kind of funny that they set up Fargo as like the hub
Yeah.
of the mob in the Midwest.
Yeah.
I didn't know that the 4th season was going to have Chris Rock.
Oh.
I did see that, yeah.
I remember that now, but I had forgotten.
He will play the head of a crime syndicate made up of black migrants fleeing the Jim Crow South who have a contentious relationship with the Kansas City Mafia.
There you go.
Set in the 1950s, Kansas
Man,
City,
they
Missouri.
just do not stop having the mafia in Kansas City.
They do not. Kansas City. They're going to be calling it Fargo still. It's in Kansas City.
Oh, what a great TV show, though.
Yeah. All right, guys. It's time to talk about Mubi again. Mubi is it's a godsend at
Yes.
times.
Yes, it
like
is.
you're like, man, I'm just tired of all the same old movies that I keep watching and everything. What does Mubi have on?
Yeah.
And usually there's all sorts of stuff that you have so many choices at that point. Stuff you've never heard of, but a lot of times stuff that's just, it's because of, the stupidity of Hollywood and the stupidity of foreign language films coming over to America and all that.
And then there's also some things that you will recognize and maybe you haven't seen before. great directors that you want to see something else that they've done that may be a little lesser known. Right now, they've got, as a holdover from the horrific October, they've got Joe Dante's The Howling.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a lot of fun to watch. It's got the 1973 version of Three Musketeers.
Yeah.
Which has Oliver Reed and Richard Chamberlain and Raquel Welch and everything. So there's some cultural touchstones in there scattered in with things that maybe you haven't experienced before from other countries.
Yeah, and this past week I saw a movie called Heartbeats, which
Yeah.
Comes from Canada.
Mm-hmm.
It's a foreign film from Canada.
You're not my guy, buddy.
And I guess it's I guess you Canadians out there know Xavier Dolan or whatever. Like, this guy is apparently really famous in Canada. He made this movie Heartbeats, which has actually got some sort of other French title, and I got to get into that later. By the way,
Oh yeah.
the one word titles.
Oh
for-
yeah.
But anyway, the Xavier Dolan made this movie when he was 21 years old.
And it's freaking beautiful.
Yeah, very, very beautiful to look at. It is kind of weird, but like, I think a lot of people, maybe you guys in this room have never experienced this, but I've experienced stuff like this where you think, you're going on a track to being in a relationship or something like that, and the other person is obviously not interested, but you just don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see it at all. And that's what this movie feels like it's about to me. In fact, there's a lot of like little vignettes that are thrown in there where people, like When Harry Met Sally, where people are talking about their marriage and stuff. Just single people talking about how, like, all the stuff that they did where they were like, I thought that he liked me, and he, and I did all this stuff that was fucked up to try to get him to notice me. And then it, from the other side too, it's like, there's this woman who liked me, and I didn't like her back, but she kept coming around and all that. And Heartbeats takes it up a notch because it's a love triangle. Two people this guy isn't interested in.
Right, that are obsessed with him.
Obsessed with him.
Yeah.
Two people who are friends and they like sleep in the same bed together. Yeah. And this guy's a dumbass. He leads them on for sure. But I think he thinks that everybody thinks like he does.
Mm-hmm.
So like, we shared a bed together. Who cares?
Yeah.
And that's what that movie is about. Like, people who are like so in love with somebody who's just not reciprocating whatsoever. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I've got to dive into this guy's. Have you heard of Xavier Dolan? Mm-mm. I've got to dive into this guy. He's like Damien Chazelle level wunderkind, right? Because he's still super young. He's like 29 now. And the way that he shoots this, the colors that he uses, the techniques, the angle of the camera especially when they're like interviewing or like they're talking directly in a one shot. Mm-hmm. It's just really, really interesting. So I want to see what this guy's got to offer. He also won in 2009 for his first movie. He won a Canadian Oscar basically over Denis Villeneuve.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet Denis is really bitter.
Possible.
Yeah.
So if you want to experience Mubi, go to mubi.com/cinemasins, mubi.com/cinemasins. It's a free month.
Mm-hmm.
It's a free month on us. It's on us. In fact,
It's actually coming out of our pockets.
it's coming out of our...
We veered sharp into lies.
But yeah, no, it's a free month where you can experience this. Give it a try. I bet you'll love it because we do.
We really, really love the service. Curation matters when the right people are doing the curating. And the people at Mubi doing the curating are aces.
Mm-hmm.
And we think you'll like it too. Try it for free, and then you'll want to just throw money at them.
Yeah.
Where do they go? What?
Aces.
Where do they go? Mubi.com/cinemasins.
That's right.
All right.
30 days, free trial.
All right. So yeah, that's it for North Dakota, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Make more movies. Like we said to others who apparently just dwarf this one, though. But yeah, that's it.
We've got 2 or 3 big ones coming up with Ohio and Oklahoma.
Yeah. Oklahoma.
OKLAHOMA.
Old dirty rotten scoundrels for you.
Yeah.
Ruprecht.
All right, so we're going back to essentially a format that we've had in the past.
I know, but we got
without
time
the road
for
trip.
it.
We have time for it, so we're going to be having some rants.
Yeah.
And we're going to have some news, and we're
Yeah.
going to have some wrecking warns and some questions.
Reckons.
And we're going to have some questions and answers. So who wants to rant first?
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
I'm as mad as hell.
You've never seen me very upset.
Lord Jesus! Lord Jesus!
You want to rant first? You've got something queued up.
Well, actually, it turns out my rant was the thing I told you was my rant is actually my news item, and my rant is about this woman that sat next to me at Bohemian Rhapsody.
Okay.
And how she was on her phone the whole movie, and I feel like we need to set some new rules for theater etiquette. Mm-hmm. I should not have to turn to her and say, "Could you turn your phone off? It's distracting to me."
Right.
She fucking knows it is and has chosen to turn it on anyway. So now I'm at a place where if I choose to have a conversation, we're already escalated to step 2.
Yep.
And I have to choose step 2 with some random woman in a theater who has a big husband on the other side of her, or leave the movie and go find a manager and be a tattletale.
Mm-hmm.
And this is unacceptable!
Yeah.
You know what? That's an interesting point, that we do need new rules, because the previous rules are don't make any noise. Like, don't be talking on your phone during the movie. Now nobody talks anymore, but you have the fucking screens lit up all over the place.
I mean, but there's warnings that come up during the trailers, in the previews. They tell you to silence your phone, turn that shit off. She fucking knows. And she does it anyway.
Yep.
And I'm being asked, polite society has put it on me to remedy this situation. Mm-hmm. And that is not proper.
No, it isn't. Yeah, it's exactly what you're saying. The fact is there's no good way to solve it because they've already stepped over one line.
Exactly.
That, once you okay, so you can be the guy with the big balls and tells them to stop, which I've done before, but it always becomes a fucking thing.
Yep.
Or you can go out, like Jeremy said, miss a lot of your movie, tell somebody that somebody right next to you is fucking around on a phone, and then have that uncomfortableness the rest of the whole time.
Yep.
And it's on them, but the fact that you said something makes it even worse.
Yeah.
And it's not your fault. And I will never forget when it was towards the end of working at Hollywood 27. Somebody came out and said somebody's flashing some light in there or something. I don't know what it was. And it was in Auditorium 17. So I got in the back of Auditorium 17 and started looking around, and I didn't see anything. This is common. Mm-hmm. Somebody comes out and complains about something. You don't see it. One thing I did see, though, was a woman who was on her phone. And I don't think that was the source of the light or anything, but just to be safe about it, I went down and I told her, "Could you please turn off your phone?" And then she was like, it sounded like it was, the absolute worst thing that I could possibly ask her to do. She was looking at pictures of a kid or something that her friend sent. And I was like, "You're going to have to turn it off." And then she's like, "Okay, there, it's on silent." And I was like, "It doesn't matter that it's on silent. Right. It's the light of the camera that I'm talking about." And she's like, "All right, it's off." And I was like, "Turn it completely off." And finally got her to do it. But it took that long. Just generally just nobody takes shit anymore because it's, there's something about keeping your rep or something, or being able to tell a story to somebody like, "That guy came in and told me to turn my phone off and I didn't do it. God damn it."
Yeah.
And okay, what a great story that is.
Yeah.
Story of you being a bitch.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, though, is you do get the notification at the beginning of the movie, but it says just that. It's silence. Mm-hmm. Silence your cell phones. It doesn't say turn off your phone.
Yeah.
Or keep your screen, dark the entirety of the movie. It's silence your phone. So I think they need to redo the marketing, like you're saying, establish that that's not cool.
Well, I have read, I agree with that, but I have read, I don't know how widespread this is. I read just a couple weeks ago that there was either a chain or an individual theater that was going to experiment with autism-friendly shows where the lights would stay up brighter, and it was designed to be less overstimulating with the audio being so loud and the lights going down so far. And I'm like, okay, I kind of like the thinking behind that, even if it doesn't like sell a bunch of tickets. But let's open it up, right? Let's call it autism friendly and fuckos who want to be on their phone friendly shows. Why don't we? I went to see Bohemian Rhapsody. There were 3 different auditoriums playing 3 different near show times. Why can't we just designate one showtime or one print of a film is going to be lights a little bit up, and everybody in there can be on your goddamn iPad.
Yeah, they could have asshole
You can
Sundays.
market it exactly like that. Fuckos on the phone.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, I cannot be in the minority here. I cannot be the only one who wants.
You aren't. No, the thing is that I think just for just exactly the thing that you brought up, so many people hate it but can't say anything about it because they don't want to get into a whole thing.
Yeah.
And the people who don't care about getting into a whole thing are the other kind of asshole.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know.
Oh man, I was so infuriated. Anyway, so there's my rant for the day. It's nothing new.
Yeah.
But goddamn, I got pissed. If you turn your phone on, you have communicated to me in the movie that you don't care about me and that you're more important than me. I'm gonna hate you forever.
Yep.
Just
I
telling
agree.
you.
I agree.
What's your rant?
So this isn't anything to get super angry about. So rant is a little bit too much for this. But we watched Suspiria at Belcourt, and there must have been 2 or 3 trailers for foreign language films coming out that have a beautiful foreign title and could easily be translated into English. But they've gone with this one word thing now.
That's usually innocuous.
It's
right?
ridiculous, and it's usually something that is ungoogleable.
Right.
Like for instance, I talked about that movie Heartbeats. That movie has an actual French name.
Yes.
It's like
Les Amours Imaginaires.
Yeah, the imaginary lovers.
Yes.
That's all it is.
Which actually encapsulates
Yes.
that movie.
And it's a
much
better title. It's a better title.
Fucking
What the
Heartbeats?
fuck does Heartbeats have to do with that goddamn title?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird.
And I can't remember the ones that we saw, but like they were similar to that.
Yeah.
And it was, like for instance, if that Fruit in a Cup movie was ever made or whatever, they'd find a way to call that Daffodils.
Yes, definitely.
I hope by the time I die, somebody has made a movie called A Piece of Fruit in a Cup.
Yes.
Oh, man.
And it has no fruit and no cups.
We've seen at least somebody make a trailer for it. We've seen a fake movie poster, right? Somebody sent us one of those.
What I think is wrong with that, and I said the ungoogleable part. What I think is wrong about this is that they are such generic titles that they are not only the same as other titles that have come before it. Like Heartbeats, I guarantee you there's like 500 of those. But if you're trying to find that movie, like a lot of times, even the best search engines in the world can't find these things. There are a lot of times titles go through name changes and everything. So you'll type in a certain, I'll type in something like Heartbeats or whatever, and the actual title will come up, and you're like, no, that's not what I want.
Right.
I want, and you just scroll on past it, without even thinking about it. That's the problem, is that they're really just too generic. And when it comes down to it, is these one word titles, like, hey, I want to find out about that movie. And then you'll find out there's one from 2014 or there's a 2010 and one from 1938. And you never get any wiser about what that movie is, that one that you want to watch. And, I bet the filmmakers would like to see where that movie is if you're trying to find it somewhere. Instead it's like, you're just in a sea of, it's like trying, remember when It first came out?
Yeah.
Try Googling It. Yeah. Like once it became popular enough, people kind of knew what you meant when you just type in those 2 letters. But before the movie came out, Google's like, we have 500,000 trillion results. We have as many results as there are stars in the galaxy. What would you like to do? And so
my rant is about the overreaction on Twitter. I've got to get off of Twitter. Like, I've got to set limits for myself to only look at it in a certain period of time or something like that. Because what you'll do is I get worked up about stupid shit.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing I see. I've got a pretty diverse timeline.
Yeah.
It's, some sports figures, some actors, some obviously a lot of music and stuff like that. And some political stuff. But everybody yesterday was talking about this Detective Pikachu trailer for whatever fucking reason and making memes about it and all this stuff. And it was trending, I think, towards the top of the trending list.
Yeah.
And it's a perfectly adorable trailer. It's got Ryan Reynolds as the voice of Pikachu. The rest of the cast looks really good. But it just shot up to every tweet was about this fucking Detective Pikachu thing. And why does this happen? It's a trailer. It's not even a movie. You haven't seen the movie.
The same thing happened last week when Nintendo put out some kind of Smash Brothers thing, and everyone was talking about Kirby.
Oh yeah, they were announcing the characters for the game that were coming out. And every character was trending at one point. everything that they announced. Super Smash Brothers, and then Kirby, and then
listen,
and then a different fragment of Super Mario. Yeah.
I mean, if you're talking about it, if everybody's talking about something, when the whole Sharknado phenomenon, when it was on and everybody was tweeting about Sharknado. All right, fine. That's perfectly fine. But this overreaction, because then you go to see a tweet for Detective Pikachu, and somebody was criticizing that tweet, and that got into a whole thing and all that stuff. And it's dial back the fervor a little bit.
Well, and
for these stupid things.
This could be. We might just be old. Now you have a kid, so the fact that you're worked up about this more than me concerns me a little. But I have no Pokemon knowledge whatsoever.
Yeah,
I know that at one point when I was in the theater, they were cards. Because there were cards that we were giving away at the theater that for about a week and a half became super valuable. I may or may not have sold some on the side to a guy.
Nice. I did the same.
I
with
know
Beanie
it was a
Babies
show. I know a couple years ago there was an app where everybody could play in the real world. Literally, that's all I know. And so I wonder if it's not that. If this is like when they announced the new Star Wars trilogy, and I did have tens of years of experience and love for this franchise, and I was geeking out about the Force Awakens announcement, but here I don't get it because I don't fucking know what Pikachu is, who he is. I don't know if this movie is part of the cartoon show universe or part of the game universe, or I don't know. Just like I don't know anything about Kirby or Smash Brothers. I don't know about Fortnite. I don't know about any of these things. And it's starting to make me feel like Clint Eastwood.
It definitely part of it is an age thing, but you also got to realize that things that trend on Twitter is a small segment of the population. It's not really it's not real life. Even though it's blowing up on Twitter, it doesn't mean that everybody else in the world is blowing up about it.
My point is, to sum up what he's saying, is that what we see on Twitter is not representative of any kind of
that's true.
A body worldwide or opinion, or it's all skewed.
God, it's so easy to get into that mindset though, because it's so hugely influential to everybody's life. I mean, look at the president, him using. I hate to call him the president. Look at Trump and what he does on Twitter, and it becomes a reality. It's a weird thing because a tweet can cause reality to happen. He's done policy shit, over Twitter.
Well, Elon Musk got fined millions of dollars for a tweet.
And look at what happened with James Gunn. All of this, Twitter can become reality.
Yep.
But it is not reality, if that makes any sense. So, it's easy to get in that mindset to where, people are tweeting, but everybody's talking about Detective Pikachu,
Sometimes I'll be watching something on TV, it's a live thing or whatever, and I'm like, I'm really enjoying this. And then I'll go to Twitter and I'll see it trending, and I'll be like, okay, I wonder what people are saying about this. Everybody's like, this is the suckiest thing ever. This is shit. These guys are terrible, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh, well, I was enjoying this. Should I not enjoy this?
Okay, so this happened to me a week ago. I'm actually very nervous to say this out loud. I saw this trailer for Andy Serkis's Mowgli, which is now going to be a Netflix film, and I really liked it. And I went to the YouTube comments, I went to the movies subreddit, and I went to Twitter, and everyone was trashing it.
Really?
Everyone was saying one of the following. The CG looks bad. Didn't we just have a movie about Jungle Book? Which, yes, I've also been saying that. Yeah. But Mowgli with Andy Serkis was started in development before Jon Favreau's Jungle Book. But he's also telling a different story, a slightly older Mowgli, torn between humans and the jungle. He's kind of already established as trailer kind of did it for me, man. And it may just be the voice work. Because he's got some really great voices doing some of these. And I could even look back and say that the CG doesn't look all that perfect. But that trailer moved me, and then I went and I couldn't find anybody else that agreed. And so I think I'm on an island. I think everybody hates that trailer but me.
Interesting.
But yeah, I've had that experience.
On to some news?
Yeah, let's do it.
News on the mark.
You got some... let's talk about your news.
So there's going to be a Breaking Bad movie.
Uh-huh. You sound excited about it.
I think one of my very favorite things about the Breaking Bad finale was Jesse's open-ended ending.
I agree.
And now they're going to take that away from me.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized this morning, I moan a lot about remakes and reboots and sequels and yada yada, and why aren't there more original stories? And I was thinking, Vince Gilligan came around with Breaking Bad. This was his killer original story, and now even that has been prequelized.
Yep.
And now we're going to make a movie out of it. And I do not want you to tell me what happened to Jesse after Breaking Bad.
Okay.
It's better left in my imagination.
You think so? If there's a competent storyteller telling the next chapter of this story...
I can't hear that anymore. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to others. I cannot... The response is going to be, what if it's good? And I am not talking about quality.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about originality. And the same with Better Call Saul, where... I've talked to Dicer about this a lot because he's maybe 2 degrees higher than me on this. I like it 98%. He likes it 100. It's a great show.
Mm-hmm.
But it's completely unnecessary, and I would rather see all these talented people making something original rather than playing around in the same characters or the same beats and the same... I hope to God that I don't have any success with my Ables and turn into a guy who can only do shit related to my first success. But the money is forcing everybody to be that.
Yeah.
I'm super frustrated about it. I don't feel like this is a story that needs to be told. The only defense is that. What if it's good? It could be good. Okay, so could a new story. Why can't Vince Gilligan write a new crime story for Aaron Paul?
Well, what if it becomes that? Because what immediately sprang to mind was Cheers. Right? Cheers, everybody loved Cheers. It lasted 10 seasons.
10, 11 seasons.
And then they decided to do a spinoff with Fraser Crane, which was probably unnecessary. I'm sure a lot of the writers from Cheers went over to do Frasier. But it's delightful in its own right, and there's only a tangential connection to Cheers itself.
But again, the only defense we have of this is, what if it's good?
Right. And if it is good, I'm going to be on board.
You're not going to prove to me, there's nothing you can say to make me think it's necessary. It's like Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks could look in my face right now and tell me, I promise you the story's good. It's worth it. I don't need that fucking movie. Disney wants $500 million, so they're making Toy Story 4.
Yep.
Don't fill my ear with bullshit about the story compelled us to come back one more time. I'm fucking sick of it.
Yeah.
AMC said, Vince, what else you got? And he came up with this. And you know what? I'm not mad at him for doing it, right?
Right.
More power to you.
It's like in Hudsucker Proxy where they're asking Tim Robbins, like, what does he have? Other ideas does he have? And he's like, well, we're going to make a hula hoop for the Portly. We're going to make one for this and that. And like, it's all hula hoops. That's all it is. Oh, I'm earning my keep. Yeah.
Maybe the problem is that I see myself as a guy who's got a lot of original ideas. And I have more outlet for those than the average person. I am now writing a book, a sequel to another book I wrote. I'm fortunate. I don't want to complain like my ideas can't find a home. But I would love to find a home for some of these other ideas.
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot of the homes are going to renters that have the same stories to tell. Like Child's Play reboot.
Yeah.
Like everything Stephen King ever wrote is being remade. What about the new writers?
What is the Stephen King stuff that's been, besides it, obviously?
Everything.
Oh, what was
Langoliers.
Pet Cemetery.
Pet Cemetery.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, there's going to be a new one of those.
There's probably, I'll Google in show notes but there's probably at least a dozen Stephen King properties in some level of development. It probably counts Castle Rock, but that's already aired. But I feel like we've reached this point where we're not giving any incentive to young creative people to be original.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And it makes me sad.
Well, I guess if you find a formula for success like Harry Potter or something like that, or Breaking Bad, it's so hard to find those critically lauded and profitable franchises that you want to expand on them as much as possible, as long as the creators are on board. And I'm right with you with Better Call Saul. I think it's not necessary, but I'm glad it's in the world, especially those first 2 seasons.
Yeah, what's next? Hank the early years? Hank at DEA training? Teenage Marie learning how to shoplift from her Heather's friends?
Yeah.
Just because we can doesn't mean we should.
That's true.
DEA, New Mexico.
Exactly.
We're so
Go me.
We're so preoccupied with what we can do.
Exactly.
We asked if we should.
Again, I'm speaking hyperbolically, but I feel like we're going to reach a point, probably before I die, where we simply don't have enough people capable of writing original ideas because they've all been trained to adapt other people's ideas over and over and over.
Yep.
My news may not be real news anymore, but I did think it was weird that there was all this this talk about Ennio Morricone talking shit about Quentin Tarantino.
Do you know what happened?
No, I don't think anybody knows.
Know what happened? It
there
sounds
was
at this point like the magazine just made it up.
like this. So there was.
This is Playboy, though. It's
This
not
is Playboy Germany or whatever. Yeah. His article came out where he called Quentin Tarantino a cretin and his films are garbage and he does and talking about what we're talking about here. Except I think Tarantino does artistically steal from others, and there's an argument to be made about that. Like, I think he takes things that maybe you didn't see in the 70s and then makes it his own, but he makes it awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty much what he does. And I think he freely admits that he steals a lot of times. But that's neither here nor there. He came out, Ennio Morricone came out and said, I didn't say any of that shit.
Yeah. I didn't even give an interview to
right. And
Playboy
this is
Germany.
within hours of it coming out.
And then Playboy said, "Oh, it happened. Here's the date that it happened, and we were at your estate, and this is what blah blah blah." And now I'm just looking at this thing that says that Playboy Germany editor-in-chief Florian Boyton issued a new statement saying, "Up to now, we have considered the freelancer who conducted the Ennio Morricone interview on our behalf to be a renowned print and radio journalist. In the past, we have had no reason to doubt his journalistic integrity and skills." Sounds like a Glass.
Yeah.
Oh.
Based on the information now at our disposal, we must unfortunately assume that the words spoken in the interview have, in part, been reproduced incorrectly.
Wow.
We would like to express our regret should Mr. Morricone have been portrayed in a false light. We are working to clarify this matter and are exploring legal
because
measures.
he threatened to sue him.
I will tell you this. This is the dumbest story to make up in your life.
Exactly.
I'll tell you why. Because none of it made sense from the very beginning.
Yeah.
I was like, when I heard that Morricone said this about Tarantino, I said, so if you thought this about him, why did you do a fucking score for him?
Yeah.
Why would
didn't
you
he do
ever?
two?
No, he
did Hateful Eight.
He did Hateful Eight, and Tarantino has used other Morricones and other like he did in Kill Bill. And he may have done it in some others too, but yeah, I don't know why you would make that shit up about if. It doesn't take long to dig and figure out this story is stupid and doesn't make any sense because of that very reason. He would have never made a score. This is well into Tarantino's career that Hateful Eight came out.
Yeah.
If you thought that about his films before, it's not like it's Pulp Fiction that he did.
Right.
And then like 10, 15 years down the road, he's like, oh yeah, all of his movies are trash.
That is why? I don't understand the story from the get-go.
Yeah.
Why would you choose Ennio Morricone?
Yeah. Makes no sense.
to be your fall guy.
It's almost, and maybe it is a Glass situation where like they interviewed him. There wasn't anything much to talk about, really. I think the guy's like 90 years old.
Well, that's the other thing. Maybe he thought he could get away with it because he thought he could paint the guy as senile and say, well, you said it, but he forgot you said it.
Yeah, the only reason that I believed it in the first place, or at least took it seriously, is that it was kind of in this old tradition of old people saying shit whatever these days. Like Quincy Jones,
right?
And who was it? Kathleen
Turner. Yeah.
I was like, all right, well, this guy's decided, fuck it, I'm just gonna.
Man, no, I mean, from the moment before he even came out and said that he didn't say this, I was like,
yeah,
why would he say this now?
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, it's an interesting type of thing. I think you should generally any article that comes out and you see that, you should always think about whether this makes sense or not.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big deal for a while there. And like, yeah, sure. I mean, they cleaned it up in like a couple of days. That's how stupid it is.
They did and they didn't, because, and I think this is part of the problem with social media and why Trump is so successful in whipping up his base with it, is that there are, however many they number, there are still people out there today who think Marconi said Tarantino was a cretin. They did not come back and read the correction. They have not continued to follow the story.
That's for sure.
They saw the first headline and moved on, and that's problematic.
Yeah. Because there will be a point in time where I'm off and I'm talking to people, and people who know that I like movies. Well, what about all that shit that composer talked about with Tarantino? Like, turned out he didn't say it.
Right. Yeah. It's every part about this story was weird, because it's not, when I said it's Playboy, it's not some innocuous website like, movie nerd geek dude.
movie poop shoot.
Playboy's a reputable, despite the content, is a reputable place, and they published many interviews that actually did happen. So yeah, it's just very weird.
Yeah.
My news is the big one, the death of Stan Lee.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a huge comic book guy growing up or anything like that. Basically knew Stan Lee initially through Mallrats. Was the first time I think heard his name. And of course, all this Marvel stuff that's happened over the years. But it's hard to deny like his influence on everything. I mean, because he had been doing this for so long. It's Spider-Man, it's Incredible Hulk, Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer, stuff like that. He even worked for DC a little bit before Marvel. So it's a big deal. He's a titan, and even though the last year or so there was some weird shit going on with the elder abuse and all that stuff, it's a big loss.
Everything that movies are right now pretty much owe it to Stan Lee, because. And obviously it took a studio with gobs of money like Disney to really truly believe in it, and you had Sony in there. Sony really I think Sony and Fox sort of kicked this off, and Disney swooped in and just made everything even more bigger and everything. But
and now they'll own Fox.
Yeah, and now they'll own Fox. But yeah, there's no denying. I mean, just about everything that you see has his name on it, and will have his name on it as long as they make these characters.
Well, and he just to tie into what I was ranting about earlier about originality. There's look at all the worlds this guy created.
I know,
all the characters, all the big ideas. How much of a champion he was for equal rights and inclusive writing way back before it was popular. Like, he and Gene Roddenberry should probably be the first inductees into the pop culture equal rights social justice warrior hall of fame in terms of coming way before anybody else. It's a huge loss, and probably he will be remembered for as long as humans remember other humans.
Well, that was the thing I did not realize about X-Men, because I never read the comic books. I've only seen the movies and everything. And I always thought it was a little strange that Magneto and Professor X, essentially, you could easily side with one or the other in those and everything. It's a rare moment where you can side with the bad guy, the so-called bad guy in it and everything. I did not realize until someone told us, and we were talking about comic book movies or whatever, that, he originally had that as a Malcolm X, Martin Luther King analogy, those two characters. And that's the reason why when we look at it, it's like, oh, I can see both sides of these issues and everything. And it's obviously it's it's harder to see that it's a race thing, but it is a race thing. All of X-Men is a race thing. So,
well, yeah, I mean, because he imbued his characters with this humanity that apparently wasn't present in comic books. You know, it was basically the hero and the villain. And when you have a character like Peter Parker who has all the anxieties of a high schooler, you know, and you see it up until, you know, Homecoming, the most recent movie where, you know, he's freaked out about real world things. And then also he has to be Spider-Man too. You know, I think that's probably like my favorite part of his legacy is that like he imbued his characters with more of an actual tie to humanity rather than just the black hat and the white hat. You know?
Yeah.
We want to recommend some shit.
Totes Amazeballs.
They're great.
It won the Academy Award.
Oh, for what?
For best movie ever made.
All right, I'll start.
Go for it.
You remember Sam Raimi?
Nope.
Speaking of Spider-Man? Nope. He did a movie, I think it was 2009, called Drag Me to Hell.
Yep.
And this movie is fucking awesome.
Balls out.
Oh, my God. You know, I saw it back in those days.
And I love me some Alison Lohman, man.
I got a question about that. So I saw this back in the day, and I really enjoyed it, right? But I haven't gone back to it, you know, in the 9 years since. And it was on the other day, and I caught it, and my God, this movie is so much fucking fun.
Yep.
It's all the fun stuff of Sam Raimi that he probably didn't get to do for Spider-Man 3.
Yep.
It's all the zaniness of the Evil Dead 2 in particular, and Army of Darkness. And it's got, you know, fun effects, and it's got, like, very Raimi-ish shooting. And yes, you're right. Alison Lohman is freaking awesome. Where has she gone, though?
No idea.
She did The Weatherman with, or was it The Weatherman?
No, it was Matchstick Men.
She did Matchstick Men with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, I believe
he was the con man.
I
right?
believe she's even in Matchstick Men. She's 27 or something, or 20. No, she's not that old. She's like 24, 25 in Matchstick Men, something like that.
She looks younger.
She
too.
looks like she's 15.
Yeah,
but she's like, you know, she's a lot older, but yeah, she used to pop up in a lot of movies. I think she may have gotten married and had a kid.
It's possible. After Drag Me to Hell, she's only done 4 other movies.
She married somebody like close to that, I think. Was Justin Long in Drag
Justin Long was in, yeah.
But yeah, I think she married somebody close after that or whatever, and maybe had a kid, and maybe she's dedicated more to that than being in movies.
It has Mark Neveldine.
Oh, that's the Neville Dean Taylor directing team.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Neville Dean, who did Little Miss Sunshine and all that. And did a bunch of music videos.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. He did Crank too, apparently.
Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm thinking of a different group.
Yeah, he did.
They did The Crank, and they did Gamer, and they did
Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, she is adorable and really, really good in this and in Matchstick Men. And she's kind of disappeared. The other guy that I want to know where he went was Dilip Rao, the guy who was in Inception. The Indian guy.
Yeah.
And he's like the mystic guy in this one. He's really good, and he's kind of disappeared from at least American stuff.
Interesting.
Except for around this time, 2009, 2010.
I'm pretty sure you're on to something, though, there with Sam Raimi, because, and look, I'm going based on, you know, secondhand information where, you know, Sam Raimi had a really difficult time making Spider-Man 3 and all the different things that the studio was forcing him to do on that. And just from my own projection of what he looked like when I saw him at that premiere, he looked exhausted. He looked like he didn't want to be there at all. And to see him then follow that up with Drag Me to Hell, I know that he was just, that was just a freeing moment for him. They took the chains off, man.
Yeah, it's a palate cleanser.
That movie is awesome.
Yeah, it really is.
I just saw Avi Arad, the guy who was the Sony producer of those Spider-Man movies, just last month, like took the blame.
Oh,
for
really?
Spider-Man 3, said that they forced Raimi to do things with the story that he didn't really want to do,
Yeah.
which has always been the supposition that we've had, but I'd never seen any kind of confirmation of that.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting.
Just remember a dude walking around that hallway, though, man, and there's like a couple guys who's like, Mr. Raimi, and he took a picture with him. And, you know, but I bet that picture, he looks like he's 80 years old. Anyway, what are you going to say?
Oh, man. I mean, this is really the most Sam Raimi movie since Evil Dead 2, probably. I would put it up a little bit further than Army of Darkness, even, because Army of Darkness is where he goes super silly, and there's really no attachment. With this, it's a lot of fun, but it's also tied to reality a little bit.
Yeah.
And huge recommend.
By the way, I read that Venom has apparently done so well. I think I saw that it has passed the global box office of Justice League.
Oh, wow.
That now apparently Sony's much less inclined to let Marvel keep playing with Spider-Man after the
that's no
setup,
good.
and that they may see Venom as an excuse to pull Spider-Man back into their own control, as we can do this without Marvel.
I don't want that.
Well, I don't want that either. I think they probably have like a 3-picture deal here to where Marvel has creative control and Sony distributes. But it's all run by money, man. The only reason they ever let them play with Spider-Man in the first place was that they had stopped making money on Spider-Man. If they think they can make money on Spider-Man without Marvel's help, they're going to do it.
That's true.
Because they won't have to split any of the revenue.
Yeah. So the exact opposite of that is a movie called Father Figures. This came out last year. I think around Christmas last year. It's got Owen Wilson and Ed Helms.
Oh, yeah. Where they're looking for their mom.
Where they're looking
Or
for their dad.
yeah.
Exactly. And so
and it's Terry Bradshaw.
well, it's either Terry Bradshaw or J.K. Simmons or Ving Rhames or Christopher Walken.
I remember the trailers now.
Okay, so Owen Wilson and Ed Helms are twins. And wrap your brain around that for a second.
You do, yeah.
Owen Wilson is super successful, and Ed Helms is a doctor, but he's not real successful and all that stuff. And Glenn Close plays their mom. I do want to say that Ed Helms in particular and Glenn Close give really good performances in this movie. Ed Helms plays like it much more straight, and has like a touch of pathos in this in his character. But the movie is hot garbage. It is one of the worst movies that I've seen in a long time.
It's like an adaptation of that South Park episode where Cartman is like trying to find his real dad.
That's right. Yeah.
And
if they had ended up with the same explanation as the South Park did, it would be so much more entertaining. Christopher Walken is completely wasted here. Terry Bradshaw is not an actor, obviously. J.K. Simmons has a little bit of fun, but he's just wasted too. This movie sucks.
Yeah.
Sucks hard. Sucks hairy hard balls.
It's almost like what is it? That's the character of Pump Up the Volume, Christian Slater. He's hard hairy.
Yeah. Anyway, avoid at all costs. It's on like HBO, and I was like, well, there's enough good people in that to where maybe it's funny. No.
All right.
I'm recommending a movie. It's a recommend.
All right.
But I thought it was kind of just okay.
And
that's The Post with Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep.
I feel the exact same way about that.
I don't have the best eye. There's a reason I don't make video essays on YouTube breaking down filmmaking styles and camera angles and the art of it, because I don't know shit about that. Didn't feel very much like a Spielberg movie to me at all. Felt like a Tom Hooper movie. It's totally fine. Everyone's good.
Yep.
I had a more positive experience. There's nothing to complain about. There's nothing to complain about.
I agree.
But I didn't come out cheering. I didn't come out wanting to rave. I didn't come out thinking it should be Best Picture. And I ultimately came out thinking if you'd have made the whole movie about Tom Hanks' character or about Meryl Streep's character, I think I would have enjoyed it more.
Yeah.
But because you tried to make it about both of them, and I get that their relationship is part of the whole thing, I ended up feeling like I didn't really go on the journey either one of them took. And I'm recommending it. I think you will enjoy it.
It's perfectly good. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But did you have the same feeling about this, or did you really like it?
I think it's a good companion piece to stuff like All the President's Men and everything, especially a precursor to that. because I never had really looked into the the thing the Vietnam papers.
Yeah. No, it's the Pentagon Papers.
Pentagon Papers.
But it's about Vietnam.
Yeah. I had never looked into that before. Like, I knew that was a major part of history, but it's one of those things where you hear about it and you're like, whatever. Papers? Who cares?
Papers?
But no, I know what you're getting at here. There's just something not quite. It shouldn't be a Spielberg movie, I think.
I agree.
I think it should be somebody who's a little bit more investigative about what they're doing and not so much, here's the spectacle of the post. This is what was happening during the post. Like Spielberg likes to make it all big and everything. It needs to be more intimate, like All the President's Men was. Yeah. So I think that's what gets in the way a lot of times of those movies, and especially when you have all these major stars, it's so distracting. Like the smallest character is Robert De Niro is in it, and you're like, damn, like it's just, they just kind of came and went. What was that all about? Why was De Niro in this? There's an expectation you have with certain name actors that they're going to be something really important, but not in a Spielberg movie.
Right.
Could just be somebody, it could be the Ted Danson in Saving Private Ryan, and he just comes in and says, hey, yeah, this place is fucked up. And then he leaves.
One of the parts that I really hated in this movie was the really emotional scene with Meryl Streep where she cries.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like they were checking off boxes of like an Oscar contender. It was like, well, let's have a compelling story that has some sort of resonance with today, and let's have all these actors and everything and give them their one scene, to where it can be on the Oscar reel. And there's literally, they take 5 minutes out of the runtime to show Meryl Streep in the bedroom or whatever, where she breaks down and starts to cry. Yeah. And it was like, man, this is so fucking formulaic, and that's not what Spielberg typically does.
No. Yeah. My warn today, I'm going to go with a documentary, and it's called The Sentence. It's a pretty recent documentary, and it follows a girl who was imprisoned under a so-called girlfriend law. So her boyfriend was killed, and the cops came and found a bunch of drugs and guns and shit that the boyfriend was into. He was a dealer or something. And under the state law at the time, they can charge the live-in girlfriend with all of his crimes. I don't remember which state this was in. They didn't actually charge her. They dropped the charges against her and came back a year and a half later and decided to charge her. She had since remarried, or maybe 4 years. She'd since remarried and had a few kids.
Huh.
And then she had to go to jail and serve like a 20-year sentence because of her boyfriend's drugs. And the documentary sort of charts. It's actually, it does get points from me for one devastating story technique where the children will address the camera. And they'll say, hi, my name is Hannah. I'm 6. And my mom went to prison 3 years ago. Blah, blah, blah. We're going to go visit her today. And then like 15 minutes later, it'll be, hi, my name's Hannah. I'm 11. I haven't seen my mom in 6 months. We're going to go visit her for Christmas this year. And keeps going. And by the time the oldest one is a teenager, you can see the pain of this broken upbringing. The reason I am warning against the documentary is that it ultimately felt very heavy-handed to me, because it is super glossed over the boyfriend's crime and what knowledge, if any, she had about it, what participation she might have had, and why they dropped the charges and then came back years later and charged her. Like, the documentary doesn't answer any of that. It presupposes you will be on their side and feel like she should not have to be in prison for 20 years, and then tells you the story from there. And it was very frustrating to me, because if she didn't do anything wrong, you could probably have shown me that.
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah.
And so it makes me think maybe she was more involved than you want. I mean, it's tragic.
Yeah.
I don't think she should have to serve all those years. I'm not trying to say she was like a co-owner of the drug dealing business, but the movie doesn't even try.
Yeah, you should have some information either way, right?
That's sort of the same. We're running into a lot of this with documentaries, right? Because that Making of a Murderer does that too.
That one frustrates me, by the way, because it's presented so one-sidedly.
Well, they cut out everything that could make him actually be the killer.
Right.
I've seen season 1. I haven't seen season 2, and part of that is the reason I haven't seen season 2 is because after what happened with season 1, which engrossed me, and then you find out later, like, oh, so he was sending her texts that were crazy and like was kind of obsessed with her and all that, and they left that out.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, and they make the brother out to be sort of some sort of asshole, the brother of the girl who got killed, because he keeps going to these like court things and he keeps like, well, I heard nothing today that changes my mind. And you're sitting there like, what an asshole. How does he not see all the information that we're seeing? And he's seeing way more than we are.
Right.
Yeah.
Way more. So like stuff like that, can we even call those documentaries anymore?
I'm beginning to think we can't. I mean, it feels like one that was, I mean, granted, they have footage from spanning over 15 years. So this is not something that they just flash decided to do, but just the whole thing feels like it began with a thesis of what happened to her is wrong. And we will use documentary footage to let everyone know about that. Whereas, again, I find myself more and more driven to documentaries that take hard left unexpected turns, like the Tickling one or the Three Identical Strangers, or the documentaries that just kind of want to explore where things go as opposed to having a conclusion before you started, which is kind of how that Making a Murder kind of always felt to me anyway.
No, that's true. And it was predated by Serial, that, the podcast. Yeah. And that was interesting to me because I think they got that right. She kept trying to prove herself wrong. At every episode, she was like, well, okay, here's the situation. He says he doesn't do it. He didn't do it. I'm going to basically say he's wrong. He's lying to me. But then I looked into this, and then I heard from this person, and then I heard from this person, literally just saying, here's the information that I have. I'm not saying that he's right or he's wrong. I'm just telling a story. And I think people took that, and when it was the HBO thing too, did this whole thing, right? Where the guy admitted to the crimes in the bathroom or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it takes this one-sided view, and it's not the right way. It's the way Serial did it was the even way, and may have inadvertently proven a point that this guy was unfairly accused. Yeah.
I had to reach sort of pretty far back to find a recommend. A lot of times the timing of all these things, like we don't know if we're going to have time to give recommends or whatever. So like I said last week, a lot of the movies that I've seen recently, either I can't recommend them or I've already warned them or recommend them. And so, but I had to go back and there's one movie that on the IMDb that I could not get my hands on, and it's called Grave of the Fireflies. And I think it's in the top 20 of the IMDb ratings. I had never heard of it before, but it's a Studio Ghibli movie, and it came out in 1988. It is about these two kids who lose their parents or lose their mom or whatever in World War II, and then they have to they're basically homeless afterwards. And so they live with their aunt, but their aunt is like just absolute just an asshole. Like she wants them to like go out and collect rice and stuff like that and whatever, and she considers them lazy and they're not doing their jobs and all that at some point, even though it's impossible to find rice during this time because of the war and everything. So it just shows these two kids who are basically doomed. You see this right off the bat that they are dead. This is not a spoiler. It's right at the very beginning of the movie. And then it goes back to how they got to this point. Talking about movies with balls, I mean, this is something you would never see in an American animation at all, ever. You would never see this kind of story being told. I think it's also something that we don't think about.
we realize how bad, like, you know, the dropping of the atomic bomb was, and all the war, all the horribleness of war and everything. We don't really think about stories like that and everything when it comes down to it. This movie is heavy, so it's not, you know, I mean, it does have its whimsical moments, and it's got that great animation that Studio Ghibli's known for. Would highly recommend this movie. It was something that was kind of a surprise when I went through the top 20 or 30 that it was ranked so highly, but,
you think it's justified?
I don't think it's justified to rank that high, but I can see why it's ranked that high.
Okay. So it's really good.
It's really good. I wouldn't put it in my top 30, but it's definitely something worth discussing. I think a lot of times it's the subject matter. Subject matter is so important, so impactful. We tend to elevate those a little bit more than normal. And especially in animation, which everything is usually supposed to be so funny and, like, you know, talking toys and stuff like that. This is a real human story and everything. Told in, you know, and there's some weirdness in there. There's some stuff that American audiences, you know, will look at and go, that's weird. That's some Japanese shit right there, you know. But I love that type of stuff. It's always it's always fun to see that type of stuff. Just the way they tell stories is great. The Studio Ghibli.
Where'd you end up finding it?
I think it was either Amazon. I saw it.
Like on a rental, or did you?
Yeah, it was a rental. Or I actually found it off of the Xfinity On Demand thing.
Oh, cool.
One or the other, I found it on. Yeah, very good. I recommend that. My warn is something that you guys will not have to be warned against, because you will never find this movie. Probably you'll never seek out this movie. I sought out this movie for the sheer reason that Famke Janssen was in it, and that it was one of her first movies, and it was like it has this like, you know, 90s like almost softcore kind of a video cover and everything. So I was like, surely she wasn't like a softcore actress or anything. And yeah, one part of the reason I'm warning this is that no, she's not. She is not. This movie is
what's the movie?
Okay, it's called Model by Day.
Model by Day.
Model by Day. Model by Day, badass assassin at night.
Oh.
And so Famke Janssen is this girl, and she's like, you know, she's a model. Her sister or friend or somebody gets attacked. There's a lot of things in this movie. It's one of those movies where you don't exactly know the fuck is going on, and because it'll be like, it's like some random gang, it feels like that hurts her friend, and so she vows she's gonna be this vigilante at night.
Oh wow, okay.
And go after these guys.
This is like a death wish type
I don't
of thing?
I don't know how in the fuck she finds these guys. How do you find these guys? They're just randomly around, you don't know who they are. Okay. And then there's like a cop who's like trying to find the guys, obviously, but he also doesn't like the vigilantes. Very Batman that way.
Oh.
And then there's like this copycat that goes around and starts.
Seems like a complicated
it
plot.
is, and it's very like when you watch it. No, you won't watch it. You will not watch this. It's very like video quality type of movie.
Uh-huh.
It's one of those like you would see this on like a Showtime at midnight. And it would come on right after, Sensual Desires or something like that would play. And then it would be Model by Day, and you'd be wrapped in because the Sensual Desires, that was a great fuck flick. And you watch Model by Day and you're like, whoa. There's a lot of pretty people in here, but there ain't no nudity in it. What's going on?
What is the deal?
Yeah.
Is this before Goldeneye?
Yes. It was 1 year before Goldeneye.
Oh, wow.
And it's funny, we were talking about Jennifer Aniston and Leprechaun. She basically just disowns this movie because it's such an embarrassment and everything. I was looking at the trivia for Model by Day, and Famke Janssen basically said, yeah, I don't like I'm just gonna say I never did that and everything. But yeah, I watched it. I caved in to my male desires because I like Famke Janssen.
Yeah.
She's a statuesque 6 foot tall actress, and I was like, yeah, maybe there's some skin in this, and it wasn't.
No. Has she ever shown some
I don't
skin?
think so. I don't think she does. She has.
I love me some Famke Janssen too.
Yeah.
I'm glad you warned me because just in case, if I came across that, I may have watched it.
There's a scene where like it's from the back or whatever, and you're like, that's from the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you want to do some questions?
Yeah.
Question. I got something to say. I want the truth. I'm listening.
This is a really interesting one and super absurd. What, in your opinion, would be the most outlandish pairing of a director and a genre? My example is Lars von Trier doing a children's animated comedy.
Yeah.
This is Sam from Minnesota. Sam, you have a strange and crazy mind.
Yep. That would be outlandish. Unfortunately, that's where my mind goes too.
Well, yeah,
because there's not really. I like Jeremy's answer. Jeremy's answer is really good for this. I was also thinking of directors that are fucking out there doing a movie that's well, just normally innocent or whatever. And Gaspar Noé, who's done Enter the Void and Irreversible and all that, did a movie called Love that had actual sex scenes in it.
Yes.
And it has another movie coming out called
Chaos? No, it's
Climax. About the dancers locked into a studio or something.
Got a great trailer.
Yeah, and the trailer looks awesome. But I thought, what if he did something like Rookie of the Year or Angels in the Outfield? He did one of those like ridiculous sports movies that have got a fantasy element to it. What would he do with those? And I wonder if you were to hire Gaspar Noé for a movie like that, would he then make it strange, or would he just make Angels in the Outfield? Yeah. But I thought because it says genre and not particularly like any one movie or anything, it limited a little bit of the scope, but I thought it would be kind of cool if this would actually be cool. I would watch the shit out of this. I think other people would too. And Gaspar Noé doing a Harry Potter movie would be fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And you know what? Make it how he wants to make it. Everybody who read Harry Potter back in the day is going to follow because it says Harry Potter on it.
Yep.
As long as you get J.K. Rowling on it somehow, some way, I bet she'd be down with some Gaspar Noé directing it.
I mean, look what happened when Quaron did it.
Yeah.
He nailed it. It was a completely different style as the Mike Newell stuff and the who was the one that did the last few?
David Yates.
David Yates. Yeah, I mean, take a chance. I would totally watch that.
Yeah. So that's how that outlandish. Yes, it would be the fantasy sports movie.
Yeah.
For a fit a weird fit, a Harry Potter movie.
Yeah, I like
it. I like it. By the way, we were talking about Eli Roth. Well, he directed The House with the Clock in its walls.
Oh yeah, that's
almost
right.
like a real life answer to this question.
It's bizarre.
My response was Terrence Malick's Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I want to see exactly how 20 minutes of swaying tree branches in the wind meshes with the smash cut gear shift Superman heroics of the muscle car action heist film.
Yeah.
Like it would be a drag race that has just interludes in it.
It would be literally the movie would be a quarter-mile drag race that takes 2 hours.
Yes.
And it's intercut with like childhood memories of the beach.
Right. It would be like Vin Diesel going down the street and racing against Michelle Rodriguez and like cutting to, I always talk about family.
There's like a swaying willow tree.
Yeah. And yeah, they're on the beach and they're out there with Paul Walker and everything. And you're like, I used to always have fun with my best friends.
And then wait for like 5
there'll
minutes
be 5
to
seconds. I don't know where I'm going, but I do know where I've been.
And then it would cut to like some Indonesian child swimming.
Right, yeah, exactly. And then like the dinosaurs,
Yeah.
like in Tree of Life.
I like that. I like that answer a lot. I'm going with two that actually were made. That sounded
Mermaid?
preposterous. The were made. Mermaid. One is David Lynch's The Straight Story.
Oh yeah. Which is, by the way, last week when we were talking about most accessible movies, we forgot about Straight Story.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, it kind of came and went. I don't remember it being released in very many movie theaters.
Yeah, I think it was Belcourt out here.
It's literally an old guy driving his lawnmower,
Richard Farnsworth,
across the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And as the title implies, it's very straightforward. There are no murderous little people out there. There's no dream sequences.
Right.
There's no Robert Blake on the phone or anything like that. It's
call your house.
So it's super outlandish. David Lynch doing a G-rated road trip story that's very affecting. It's a very, very nice thing. The other one that I was going to mention is Jon Favreau's Iron Man. Because at the time, Iron Man had everything working against it. It had a recovering addict as the lead. He was charismatic, but he's past his prime, quote unquote. It was literally a clunky franchise that nobody knew anything about. It wasn't Marvel Studios yet. It was it Marvel Studios?
Yes, but it was.
Obviously, it wasn't the behemoth that it is now.
Yeah.
And then he got Jon Favreau.
But remember, it was Paramount before it was Disney.
Yeah.
So those first two, I believe, were Paramount. Then Iron Man 3 came out, and that's when Disney had taken over.
It's just absurd to think of all the things that conspired against Iron Man and that it was a success.
Well, yeah, nobody knew,
despite it.
Nobody outside of comic book nerds who knew who Iron Man was, and the trailers looked Like, well, I've seen The Rocketeer.
Right. And this guy directed Zathura.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he had directed Zathura. He had done the whole swingers thing. He did that movie called Maid.
And Elf.
And he did Elf, before this. But nothing about that previous track record would have predicted that he could handle a superhero movie with aplomb. Like, he just nailed it. Nailed the comedic stuff, nailed the cinematic stuff, nailed the fighting stuff. It was a real miracle that this happened.
Well, and
look at what it launched.
He survived the misstep of Iron Man 2 by regrouping and making Chef and finding sort of his voice again. And then he made Jungle Book, and of course he made The Lion King that's coming out soon, and now is working on a live action Star Wars story, and it is essentially almost upper echelon at this point, right?
He can pretty much. I think he's had a track record where he can pretty much do anything.
I would think he's getting close to J.J. Abrams level in terms of like say and clout. And I'm really happy for that guy.
I am too, yeah.
Because he kind of started off as that schlubby stand-up comic he's playing in Swingers. He does kind of a nice recurring role on Friends back in that same general area, but he's always been a super likable guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, who knew he had this kind of, magic-making talent?
I mean, yeah, and it almost seems like it's effortless. Of course, we're not there on set or anything like that, but in interviews or whatever, he could just genre hop, and he's just like, hey, that's good. I mean, motherfucker got like technically proficient at like high level cooking and techniques and stuff like that, just for a role for a movie that very few people saw except for us.
Yeah.
So I mean, he seems like he's got a good gig going.
No, I think that's a good pick.
I was recently watching Roberto Benigni's Life is Beautiful, and after that I went to see if it won something, and something curious got me. It won for Best Foreign Film, Best Actor, and Soundtrack. We're talking about the Oscars, obviously, and got more nominations for Best Movie and Director. So here's the deal. Why do you think this hasn't happened again? I mean, with the screams for diversity in the States, why are people not looking for more foreigner films?
First off, I don't know if Hollywood would consider Life is Beautiful a diversity type of win, even though the filmmakers are Italian, still white, when it comes down to it. So I think there are a variety of reasons. First off, Life is Beautiful was distributed by Miramax at their height.
Yep.
Miramax was able to push movies like no other studio when it came to Oscar time. And so Miramax stayed around until 2005 under the Weinstein's control. But then Disney took it over once the Weinsteins made the Weinstein Company and everything. But that was the height right there, that late 90s surge there. They were behind so many of these Oscar campaigns, and they could find a movie from a foreign land and make it a popular thing.
Foreign land.
And make it popular. And you gotta also, the parameters of this question, the fact that the actor and it was foreign language film and it was Best Picture and all, it's so rare to have a movie do that anyway. And I don't think it's partly a diversity thing, right? Because there are movies from the Middle East and there's movies from Africa and there's movies from Central America and all that are being made, and they're great, but they're not getting seen by a wide group of people. And you got to think about the Academy. Think about who's comprised of the Academy. A bunch of actors who are on their own shit. There's a whole bunch of people who don't even watch some of these movies. Like when the foreign language film and the shorts and all that other stuff comes up, they're being voted on by a small amount of people. So they have to get in front of people. And that's why that Life is Beautiful thing and why Miramax was so important back then. It's not just us, people in Tennessee that need to see it. It's them. It's the Hollywood that still needs to see it. And a lot of times, a lot of these movies aren't getting in front of them. We had a few categories we had a few movies, the foreign language films that got, Best Picture and whatever. The movie Amour came out 6 years ago. Amour got nominated for Best Foreign Language Film and Best Picture.
Right.
But none of the actors, for some reason, even the acting is amazing in that movie. The one thing that I looked up was they included Babel in this. Babel was a foreign language film, but even though in technically,
you're disqualified if you have Brad Pitt.
Yeah. I think they called Letters from Iwo Jima a foreign language film too, because a lot of that is in Japanese and everything. But I don't consider those the same. Like I consider foreign language film a movie from that country. Right. It didn't have, that wasn't backed by the U.S. came over here, and that's how that whatever. So I think there are a lot of factors there as to why that's not happened. It's rare. It would be rare even if you did have a movie that was huge and blew up out here. You have distributors who can't get it in front of everybody. And, that's basically it, I think, mostly.
What do you think about the artist? How did the artist pull that off? Because it got Best Picture, correct? In 2012, 2011, whatever. And I think the actor won Best Actor, right?
But wasn't it? So how much of that was the gimmick?
It was probably a Hollywood movie or a movie about acting, right? Or a movie about movies.
Yeah.
A lot of it was. I like the artist a lot.
Yeah, it was a weird winner for Best Picture, though. Yeah. I don't remember it being.
I thought at first when I first heard about it that it was sort of a gimmick, but then I watched it and I was like, you know what, they pulled this off pretty well.
You mean the silent part being the gimmick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't done this in forever. Here's a quaint little thing from yesteryear. Let's do that.
A not talkie.
Yeah. And it's Jean Dujardin who won.
Right.
But that movie was really good. But that I don't even know if we call that
it seemed like a unicorn.
Yeah, that one's sort of I don't even know if we call that a foreign language film, especially because it's silent. But is it because it was made by a French filmmaker and it starred a French actor?
Yeah.
Does it really count? I think you have to have a few other categories there.
Yeah, I guess so. One of the arguments that I had for why we get the winners that we get is that America, by and large, is more diverse than most other countries, by itself. So you can have like a Moonlight that wins a Best Picture. Mm-hmm. You can have something like Precious being nominated.
Whereas
for a million
in Canada, every single Best Picture nominee co-stars a moose.
Yes.
Nowhere
Absolutely
near as
right.
diverse.
Alfonso Cuarón's probably going to be nominated for Roma.
It certainly
and
sounds
that's
like
about that's about like I think he's in Mexico City or something like that.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a regular movie in any means at all.
Yeah, so look at we were talking about the Bohemian Rhapsody for Rami Malek maybe being nominated. And that's about like a where is he from? Zanzibarian person in Britain. So I think there's so much diversity within the U.S. that you can make a Black Panther and have it be $1 billion franchise, and then you can make a Moonlight that could be a Best Picture.
I'm looking at the production companies on the artists. It's all French.
Yeah,
and
it's French as fuck.
I understand, but the distributors are like Warner Brothers and stuff like that. But there's a lot of American actors in it too. It's interesting. I think this should probably qualify, but who knows what the rules are on that. That's another thing. Academy rules and union rules and all that other bullshit that's going on. That's another reason why that hasn't happened in forever. I would consider The Artist, though, as a movie that this has happened for.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not best, it didn't get a best foreign language film nomination, but it did win Best Picture, and it's made by French people.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm. Francophile.
Yeah.
Listening to the newest episode and talking about Black Swan inspired me to ask my next question. What is the worst movie you saw on a first or early romantic date? Doesn't have to be a bad movie, but maybe an awkward one. This person's answer is Black Swan. We acknowledged before the movie how attractive both leads were, but didn't know what to talk about after. Now, see, I would totally take a first date to see Black Swan, and I think it would be an excellent conversation starter.
Mm-hmm. Natural Born Killers.
Okay.
There it is.
Okay.
I will say this. I've been on a lot of these type of dates where we don't know whether it's really a date or not, but I'm counting this because it's one of those things where I kind of like the girl and I asked her and she went to see Natural Born Killers with me. Probably should have been a keeper, actually. But yeah, that movie, and I saw Pulp Fiction later with her too. Yeah, Natural Born Killers is just such an insane fucking movie. I like Natural Born Killers, but I don't know if you take a girl to go see it. You know what I mean? And I was 17. Who cares? But yeah, like there's so much violence and so much just excess going on in Natural Born Killers that there's plenty to talk about. You just don't really want to talk about it.
You don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. I also took a girl to Schindler's List too. So Schindler's List is I wouldn't consider that a date movie either, but there's a lot to talk about after that. So
that's true, and you can make out during it. Apparently,
you can.
Yeah, that was my infamous, my best answer. I've already talked about on the podcast is that I went on a double date to Schindler's List and had to watch some foreplay. But I also took a different girl in the same general time in my life on a first date to see Philadelphia.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Which is just my philosophy. I think you can choose any genre of movie for a date and make a good justification for it. Oh, I wanted to take her to a horror movie because we get close and she'd hold me. But I always wanted the date to smile. I wanted us to be having a good time, to be smiling, laughing. I like to crack jokes. Philadelphia did not present an environment conducive to joke making.
No.
And so it's not exactly like a bad or like awkward, like we were squirming in our seats or anything, but it wasn't really a good time.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I loved watching that guy get AIDS and die and get screwed over by his law firm. Like that. It was not, hindsight, probably should have gone to like Pocahontas or some shit. I don't know if those were out at the same time. I just know I saw them at the same theater.
They were not, but it was funny.
Oh, shit. I took this girl to see The Green Mile in 1999.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
It was our first date. We met at a Barnes & Noble. We were both working there. And we said, hey, let's go see, we're officially dating. We're going to make this happen. And went to see The Green Mile. Now, The Green Mile is a great movie. I think it's a great movie. It's super long, and there's like, starting around hour 2, it's basically weepy the entire rest of the movie. There's 3 main beats where you're going to cry. And by the last one, my date was just a pile. I mean, she was a mess. She was, crying and snotting everywhere, and is just a whole thing. And I was like, oh, man, this is not going to end up well. But I took that opportunity. I actually turned it on its head. I leaned into her and I said, I've never seen you look as beautiful as you do now.
Nice.
And it worked.
Nice.
Yes.
You reminded me of Green Mile when the neighbor Gary at the end just draws a picture of his own face with tears. And he's like, it was the Green Mile. And they're like, how is that the Green Mile? And he's like, this is me at the Regal Cinemas crying as I watched the Green Mile. Well, how would we know that? I just assumed everyone cried when they watched the Green Mile.
Well, I told you guys. I think I've said this a couple of times on the podcast. The night that the night before the Green Mile opened, all the projectionists got into their one auditorium to watch 3 separate prints or whatever. I'm watching mine. I'm getting into the heavy stuff and everything, and this other projectionist comes walking into my auditorium. His because we had such static problems at Hollywood 27 and platter problem. His print threw off of the platter while he was watching it. So it was a jumbled mess that he couldn't watch the rest of it. He was ahead of me though. And he was coming in there and he had glasses and everything. And he's like, can I watch the rest of the movie here? My movie threw I'm going to fix it later, but can I? I was like, sure, man.
Oh my God. It was a somehow a positive experience. Oh, this is a fun one. Hashtag SinQuest. Can't fucking talk today. Hashtag SinCast question.
Hey, SinQuest is going to be a thing.
It's not bad. Favorite unexpectedly awesome soundtrack. Mission Impossible Fallout has been a standout for me this year. I haven't heard the Mission Impossible Fallout soundtrack except for that song that was on the trailer that's badass. I'm going to have to give that a shot. And before I turn it over to you, a similarly awesome soundtrack was the 1996 Mission Impossible.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that had... it had a bunch of U2 stuff on it, didn't it? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I don't think it had U2
Yeah,
stuff.
they did.
Well,
yeah,
they
U2
did
redid
the
the
theme. Yeah.
because Sting famously said anybody can play 4/4.
Oh, yeah.
They changed it from the time signature to a 4/4 time signature. Because their version is that dung 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 dung.
Yeah, it's badass.
Dung. Yeah, it's awesome. But
but is that did they do more on that soundtrack?
They did. I've actually got that soundtrack. It's really good.
Huh.
I think Danny Elfman actually did the score
Danny
for it.
Elfman did the score, and I thought he was the one responsible for making that theme all jazzed up like that.
I actually am not even sure it's U2. It may just be Larry Mullen and Adam Clayton.
Yeah, Larry Mullen and Adam Clayton. Massive Attack, Pulp, Bjork.
As in Common People Pulp?
Yes. Mm-hmm. It's called I
As
Spy.
in Swan Dress Bjork?
Yes, exactly. The Cranberries had their Dreams song on the soundtrack. So yeah, it's really good. That's not my answer, but I was just...
like those. I've seen Mission Impossible a million times.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those songs actually made it into the movie?
I think Dreams is in there at one point, and
was it at the end?
It may be at the end.
I think it's at the end because that's the part where everything's happy. There's no other place to put Dreams.
No, not in the break-in scene.
No, he's talking to Kittredge. Oh, I'll tell you this, Kittredge. Oh, my. Yeah.
And then, of course, Mission Impossible 2 had
Limp Bizkit.
The Limp Bizkit song.
Now I know why you want to hate me. I know why you want to hate me. Because, hey, it's all the world has even seen lately.
It's so fucking awful.
Okay, so Batman Forever is an unexpectedly awesome soundtrack. It's funny, like I think the previous 2 Batmans were good soundtracks. You had Prince on the first one, and you had I don't remember what much on the Batman Returns one.
I don't know if there was a soundtrack. It was I had the score, Danny Elfman's score on audio cassette.
I think the reason why it now Batman Forever will always go down as one of those like really like I guess guilty pleasure type movies for me. Like it's not good. I know it's not good, but I've enjoyed watching Batman Forever. But Schumacher took the reins on that, and everything's different from the earlier 2 entries and everything. You don't expect badass songs to come out of that particular way of telling the story and everything. But speaking of U2, there's the Hold Me, Kiss Me, Thrill Me, Kill Me or whatever song.
That's maybe one of my favorite U2 songs.
Yeah, that song is awesome. The Bad Day song from the Flaming Lips
So good.
is fucking amazing. That's during that whole part where Jim Carrey is working for that, the shitty boss, and then
Before he turns into the Riddler.
Before he
right?
turns
Yeah,
into the Riddler, he's Edward Nigma.
Yeah.
But that song's playing when he's down on his job, and the lyrics to that song are all about that.
Yep.
And then you have Kiss from a Rose by Seal is on it.
I always like that song.
You have a PJ Harvey song. You have a Mazzy Star song. You have Massive Attack. The Offspring, Nick Cave. Michael Hutchence does a cover of The Passenger.
Really?
Yeah. So that soundtrack
I love me
is
some Michael Hutchence.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That dude was a sexy guy with a great voice, with a very unique voice.
Oh, yeah.
I need to go back and listen. I've got the soundtrack. I need to go back and listen.
Yeah,
to it.
NXS was pretty badass.
That's right.
But good soundtrack. I think Batman and Robin had a pretty good one too, with the Smashing Pumpkins stuff on it.
Yeah.
But this one has a really good mix.
Mm-hmm.
It's very 90s as fuck, but it's a good mix.
That's badass.
Good call. I'm going to go with Jerry Maguire because I feel like Singles gets all the love when we talk about good Cameron Crowe soundtracks.
Yep.
And I did own that. But I don't know anybody but me who bought the Jerry Maguire soundtrack. A couple good Who tracks on here. We got The Magic Bus and Getting in Tune. There's a little instrumental that plays when they're kissing on the porch and he breaks her dress strap. Do you remember that part of the movie?
Mm-hmm.
That's a Paul McCartney instrumental called Sing Along Junk.
Huh.
And it's just this
I've
little
heard that.
bouncing back
Yeah.
and forth. Do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do-do. Anyway, I love it. There's an Elvis song on there, some Heart, Nancy Wilson, and then you end with Bob Dylan, Shelter from the Storm.
And that awesome Free Fallin' use in the middle of it, where he actually realizes the song is talking about him.
Yeah.
And then he does a little woo.
Yeah.
I've got, however shitty this movie is, this soundtrack is fantastic. And it's the Godzilla from 1998. Okay, so terrible movie. We've already talked about how terrible this movie is. The soundtrack for this is so badass. It's so badass that it made a Puff Daddy song listenable to me. It was Puff Daddy and Jimmy Page.
Oh, this is the soundtrack that has Bob Dylan's son doing Bowie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Heroes.
Bob Dylan's son.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the Wallflowers.
I'm sorry,
Jacob Dylan. Yeah.
Should still probably be referred to as Bob Dylan's son.
Yeah.
He's doing Heroes. Puff Daddy and Jimmy Page do a Kashmir knockoff with Come With Me.
Yeah.
And then you've got Jamiroquai, Rage Against the Machine, Ben Folds, Foo Fighters, Green Day, and
what's fucking Ben Folds doing in that? One of these things is not like the others.
It's got one of my favorite one-off songs called Air. And it does fit for whatever reason.
All right, but you were listing shit like Rage and Bowie, and we got Ben
Jamiroquai
Folds.
doesn't need to be.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's true. That's true.
No, it's really, really good. It's also 90s as fuck, but it's really good. The Rage Against the Machine song "No Shelter" is fucking awesome. There'll be no shelter here.
Yeah. No shelter here.
God damn, it's awesome. But anyway, that's definitely worth checking out. Not the movie, the soundtrack. And I still have this in a CD case right by my
That's awesome.
office.
Yeah.
Your brief discussion about Sean Penn and Carlito's Way inspired this question. What supporting performance that you love should have been nominated for an Oscar but wasn't? This person says Helen Bonham Carter in Fight Club. And for actor, I'm so pissed that they stole my answer, Val Kilmer in Tombstone.
Ah, yes.
Yes. So what do you guys think?
Pretty sure I've discussed this before, but Jack Lemmon and Glenn Ross is so fucking good.
That's ridiculous that
he
wasn't
didn't get
nominated.
nominated. And I think I've said before, it's not like the Academy didn't know who Jack Lemmon was.
Right.
Like he had been nominated 6 times, maybe more. He'd been nominated 6 times. He'd won 2 Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they gave a nomination to Pacino, and I know that they were trying to get Pacino an Oscar and everything. But if there was like, I don't know how coordinated this was, but don't you think that he was always going to get it for Scent of a Woman? Why do you even bother with the supporting nomination if that's sort of some coordination going on.
Well, and
there.
also, I just feel like I've always felt Lemon's, but everybody's great in this movie, but I always felt like Lemon's performance was the best.
Yeah.
Like, if you had to single out one of them, it feels like, to me, it shouldn't even be a discussion.
I mean, you're comparing within the same movie, the two performances. It's not even close. Yeah,
Right.
Ricky Roma, I guess, is the flashier thing and all that stuff, but it's clearly showing.
Yeah, he's the one who sort of is in every part of that movie.
Yeah.
Like there are a couple of like the Ed Harris, Alan Arkin scenes are distant from all that, but most of the time we're following him. His story has more to tell. He's got a daughter that's in the hospital. He's trying to get enough money for an operation. All that. The company is giving him terrible leads. He has to do his best. He has to be the best salesman on these terrible leads that he knows aren't going to sell. That's what's so heartbreaking about, like, when he does come into the office with this new sale. He's so delusional, and I think he knows it in the back of his head that there's no way that it's going to work. Although maybe he doesn't, because once Kevin Spacey tells him that the sale was no good, you can see the disappointment and sadness going over Jack Lemmon's eyes. Like, that's the one, sure, send me to jail for stealing the good leads, but don't tell me that this sale is bad because my daughter is going to die if I don't give her this money. The eyes change from this. He goes from being real cocky, telling Kevin Spacey off in the one scene, to Kevin Spacey telling him that I know you're the one who robbed the office, and goes into sales mode. And then once he says this, like, you see how these people were living? He's like, how can you delude yourself?
Yeah.
And he's like, wait a minute, you're telling me it's no good? He's at his fucking bottom at that point. I don't know how in the fuck this didn't get nominated, but anyway, it is one of the best performances you'll ever see that didn't get nominated.
You could just watch that part of his performance and be like, oh yeah, he deserves at least a nomination.
That's one of those things where you're sure he got nominated. Like, if you don't remember Oscar history or anything, you go and watch that movie. Like, oh yeah, he got nominated for this. Everybody fucking got nominated for this. No, just Pacino.
Yeah. Stupid.
Yeah.
I wrote down a few obscure ones.
Okay.
And I don't really believe passionately enough to pick one of these three. I'm going to give you all three.
Okay.
Chris Hemsworth in Star Trek 2009. Super short scene. But that opening with George Kirk rings more true than almost anything in any Star Trek movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It just feels real, and I love it. It gets me every time. Jeff Daniels in Looper. Just because Jeff Daniels doesn't get enough credit for when he goes a little bit goofy.
He's excellent in that movie.
He's fantastic in that movie. And then Dustin Hoffman in Stranger Than Fiction.
Yeah.
Because he kind of steals that movie too, because he's like the only guy Will Ferrell meets that's like, oh, you think you're in a book? I'm in. Let's talk about it. I don't need to be convinced. So anyway, any of those would work. It's a fun question. I feel like we could do a whole podcast on unrecognized great supporting roles.
Yeah.
So what did you find out? It's like, well, I found out that I've done some research and I realized that you're not a golem.
Are you happy?
Aren't you happy that you're not a golem?
Okay, so mine led into a broader thing. So I immediately, for whatever reason, thought about Jeremy Renner in Arrival. Now, it's not a showy role, but he has to pull off a lot of different things. He's kind of the comic relief. He's got to nail those scenes in the chamber with the heptapods and all that stuff. He's got to be convincingly intelligent and stuff like that. And then he's got that emotional beat at the end when he's basically they're saying, do you want to follow through with this relationship and all that stuff. And so he does some heavy lifting in that. But he wasn't nominated.
Right. Amy Adams wasn't even nominated for this.
That's the next step, is that how the fuck is Amy Adams not nominated for this performance?
Yeah.
Because all that stuff that Jeremy Renner does, like, she's got to really anchor the movie. She's in almost every scene, if not every scene. And she's got to emotionally convey this devastating decision, this devastating realization that she has when she comes up with the key. And, some kind of action-y bits, too, when they're getting blown out of the thing and when he's chasing her with the satellite phone and all that stuff. That's a true crime that this movie wasn't nominated for more stuff, particularly Jeremy Renner. But, yeah, those two.
You know what I think would be an interesting double feature, even though the movies have very little to do with each other, although there is one little thread, Arrival and Nocturnal Animals. Nocturnal Animals has got a lot of like fucked up family stuff in it, stuff about childbirth, and in Arrival that's sort of an interesting wrinkle and twist or whatever that they've put in there. But she played two characters who something about motherhood was the theme or whatever, and Nocturnal Animals is one of these movies too that if you can get past the weird opening with all the naked chicks dancing around, which I still to this day don't know what the fuck that was all about. I'm sure there's some symbolism in there. But if you get through that, then you look at the sort of the theme of that movie and everything. You can tie some things into Arrival with it.
Who did Nocturnal Animals? Who was the director?
It was Tom Ford.
Oh yeah, that's right. How weird. I still haven't seen that movie. Is it worth a watch?
It's worth a watch, but it's. I think this is the movie I said I wish somebody had warned me what I was in for watching this, because it's like a bunch of fucked up sadness.
Yeah,
really.
Well, it's like a kid that got kidnapped.
It's real
or some
fucked
shit.
up.
Yeah, and but I still saw great acting in it.
To sort of discuss the plot of Nocturnal Animals means that you kind of spoil some things, I guess. But yeah, you know that she and Jake Gyllenhaal aren't together anymore, and then it's one of those type of things I don't really want to, even though it's 2 years, I think that's still enough time to not spoil it and everything. So it like Jeremy said, it's almost Wreck-A-War in a way, because there's some artistic flourishes in there that are like, I don't know what you're going for there.
Yeah.
But and the subject matter is kind of fucked up.
All right, I'll check it out.
All right, well that'll do it for this week. Keep going to SinCast presented by Cinemasins on Facebook, Cinemasins Twitter, SoundCloud, Reddit. There are a lot of places to come and comment on this very episode.
You know where else you can go? You can go to our Patreon page.
That's right.
And sign up to become a member and get perks. Early access to podcasts, videos, all kinds of stuff. Help vote on the content. We just did a Bohemian Rhapsody mini-pod that was posted a few days ago. And that was suggested by the patrons, the members. And you can also sign up to do a monthly live chat with the three of us that you've been listening to for the last 2 hours or so.
It's just like being in the Stonecutters. We make Steve Guttenberg a star. We keep the aliens under wraps. We're that kind of organization.
That's right.
But anyway, that'll do it for this week. It's Chris Atkins and Jeremy Scott and Barrett Sher. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Comment on our episodes on our SoundCloud page. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. And be sure to visit cinemasins.com.
And that was one of them.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Nice. Did you watch Model by Day?
That's how
it really gets you in the mood.
Exactly.
Especially lyrically.
Are you being serious?
No, I'm joking, because that one song I always refer to where she says, where there's a fire, there's bound to be a flame. Where there's a flame, someone's going to get burned.
And just because it burns doesn't mean you're going to die.
I'm just saying.
I love that song, though.
Well, that's the problem, is that it's actually a catchy bit of music.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I can't get on board with those lyrics. It's like the Hallmark Channel of lyrics. It's like the greeting card lyrics.
Yeah, but I mean, like, musically.
Where there is a fire, someone's bound to be a flame.
Yes, but in the last chorus, she takes like the third or the fifth harmony above that, and like it's super high register and it's super like impactful. But yes, lyrically, that one is not all the way there.
Is that the Camilla Cabello harmony?
The fifth harmony, yes.
How many people want to kick some ass? I do.
That's my favorite part at the end of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Oh, I forgot that was in there.
How many people want to kick some ass? He says, are you blah, 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 number 73? Did you say this about Jay and Silent Bob? yeah. And then you're just like punching him, and you see Kevin Smith like doing a drop.
Who was she married to? Or who was
Eli
she?
Roth.
Oh, she's in like 5 of his movies now.
Really?
Yeah, she's in Knock Knock. She's in Green Inferno. She's in.
You've seen a lot of Eli Roth movies.
Yeah, but it's on accident. Like,
You know what's weird though is that he hosts some like the greats of horror like TV show where like he sits down with people like Wes Craven and like John Carpenter, and he's like the show is all about like the greats of horror, and it's hosted by Eli Roth.
That's hilarious.
And I'm just like, man, come on! I know Tarantino really liked Hostel, and that's pretty much it.
What did he do before that? Was it Wolf Creek?
Cabin Fever.
Cabin Fever.
Yeah. So like Eli Roth, yeah. At first, yeah, I might go out and see his movies because he was getting a name. But then he's made all these like weird, random, hit theaters for a brief time, and now are on Blu-ray type of movies. And I saw Green Inferno because I heard a bunch of people talking about it, and it's gross, but I don't know what's good about it.
Why did you see that? It didn't seem like it's in your wheelhouse.
I'm trying to remember how I came across it. I'm pretty sure. I don't know.
And it could just be Pretty Girls. A lot of times I'll just watch a movie strictly because of that.
Well, I mean, I don't think we should be afraid to say that.
No.
She actually has a very unique, almost exotic kind of beauty. That could easily have drawn me in.
Yeah.
Or that or the kid from Spy Kids. I saw him in the.
Well, and Knock Knock. I think for a while there I didn't even know that was an Eli Roth movie, but I figured it out. I don't know, just before I watched it, and then Knock Knock was when I was messing around with my little VR thing, and it was the Hulu app, and I was like, I'm going to watch a movie. What movie should I watch? And I scrolled through all this. I have never heard of these. Never heard of these. Never heard of these. Never heard of these. Oh, Knock Knock. I know that's terrible, but I'm going to watch it. And Ana de Armas is in that, and I love Ana de Armas.
I mean, I can see how that would shatter you for the rest of your life.